welcome to Let's Talk. And here on Let's Talk, we like to talk about issues that matter to you, to everybody.
Yes.
So we could come up with workable, practical solutions. So we have more action and less talk. I'm your host, Jason, with my co-host.
Same Cheryl.
Same Cheryl, not still Cheryl, just Cheryl. Same Cheryl. And guys, we can jump right into it because we know we started late and we just want to thank you guys for sticking around and always supporting us.
Yes.
We have the best viewers out there, bar none. So let's just jump right into it. Today, we're talking about step parenting, the pros and the cons, the highs and the lows. And I think we did a show before, but we were just talking about parenting. And I covered the whole aspect, different aspects of parenting. So, but because step parenting is a whole beast or a whole movie on its own, that's what the kids would say, it's a whole movie. It's a movie.
Okay.
We decided to just be specific with step parenting. Because I think, well, I don't know what the stats is, but I know it's very high. But step parenting is here in the Bahamas.
Yes, definitely. I think so. I don't have the stats either, but I definitely think there's a very, very high rate of step parenting in the Bahamas and worldwide.
Yes.
Because, well, in our Western culture, because a lot of persons do have kids out of or prior to marriage. But step parents don't just come around from persons who would have had. Then there's divorce, there is death of a spouse. And so step parents come along. But tonight we're going to talk about step parenting from every aspect, every person in the equation. So we're going to look at it from the child's perspective, from the step parent's perspective, from the biological parent's perspective, and even from the other siblings that are onlookers. Could be siblings of the child or persons born to either parent.
Right. Even the grandparents.
Exactly.
Because if you got a mummy like mine,
family.
you got a mummy like mine, she can own them.
Yes.
You know, so that's a plus.
Yes.
Then you got some grandparents who just ain't playing that game.
Yes.
So we are going to look in every aspect, and we really want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you have to say. What's your take on the subject? Our number is 352-8255. Please feel free to call us. We always invite your call. We always enjoy it. Or you can just drop a comment in the chat,
Message. Yes.
and we will definitely get at it on the chat. We have our faithful commenters like Priska, B. Lord. We have
J. John.
J. John, Terrence,
Yes. Glendina. Yes. Yeah, that's what you get for starting.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But guess what? We're going to see it
definitely
when you guys start up. So
Right.
guys, we always welcome you. So we're going to jump in again. So step parenting.
I want to start off by saying, if you are not in it for the full haul, if you are going into a relationship and the person has a child who is not yours, if you are not fully committed to parent that child, do not enter the relationship, no matter how much you love the man, no matter how much you love the woman, because a lot of times it's usually that relationship that's paramount, that's the most important, and then it's a side or addition, the child. But it's a full part of the package, And once you are with someone who has a child, you are obligated, and you might disagree with that strong word, Jason, you are obligated. If you're going to marry somebody with a child, you are obligated to parent that child. You do not have a choice.
I cannot, in my good Christian conscience, disagree with that.
Okay,
They'll put me on the church. They'll put me on the church if I disagree with that.
No, I mean, this not with the concept, but I guess the use of the word obligation.
No, you're right. Obligated.
You're obligated. They are a full package.
It is a
and
package.
You are expected. You have to treat the child like that's your own child.
Now, Cheryl, that's a deep statement, right? Because me, speaking about me, no hypothetical thing, I can be a strict parent. Oh, I play with my kids. I love them. But when it's time for seriousness, we get serious. And if I have to discipline, I discipline. I don't hold no grudges. So I could tear your hip up. I could chastise you. And once I know you understood what was wrong and we come to an agreement that, hey, what was,
Right.
I put that away.
Okay. And the thing is, well, who loves Who loves your kids more than you?
Okay then. Right.
Who loves your kids more than you? You discipline your own kids. God disciplines us because He loves us.
Right.
But I think though, Jason, but your discipline may come off too
Harsh.
too harsh to someone. And I feel the
Yes.
same way. I am passionate about my parenting. I believe in tough love.
Yes.
I believe something should be withheld from children out of love.
Yes.
I believe in building character in children. And sometimes you have to allow them to buck their toe, to go through some things. And like you say, this may look different to someone, to an onlooker, maybe the stepchild or the biological parent. They might feel like you're coming on too tough. And I'm guilty of that, because I was in a relationship where I had a child, and my husband at the time was a step parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I shielded my son in some regards because I felt you didn't love him like I love him.
Right.
And that was a mistake.
Big mistake.
Because, and I think a lot of times parents do, especially the females, I must say. Priska's gonna come for me for that later, but I'll await that. But I think sometimes mothers, we shield our children from the man.
Yes.
And so that man ends up, he has the responsibility of step parenting, but in terms of the benefits of being able to properly father or parent the child, then that's withheld from him in some regards.
And that is so sad. Because, like you said, the step parent, because I'm not just going to keep it on fathers, because you have mothers who do it too.
Right.
They have the responsibility of providing for the child and helping take care of the child and help raise the child. But then when it comes for the reward, or,
Right.
you know, the step parent receiving some reward for their work for that child, now they can be overlooked. And or when it's time to discipline, now you can't get involved in disciplining the child, knowing that you see in the child doing something wrong, knowing that if that was your child, they wouldn't have gotten away with it.
Exactly.
But they say they want you to treat their child like your child,
Yeah, yes.
but do it except when it comes to disciplining.
Yes.
Do it when you
Or
want to
do it-
reward them.
Do it on my terms.
Right.
Do it based on my expectations.
So if you want to reward them and boost them up and encourage them, yes. But now when they go wrong and it's time to discipline them, no.
Yes.
You step back, you fall back,
Exactly.
and I can take it from here. That's wrong to me. So, and that's when you end up with, sadly, the step parent now stepping back, withdraws
Yes.
altogether.
Yes.
Because you don't want to cause any friction, you don't want to cause any fight. So you stay in your corner and you just look from a distance and you be like,
yes.
you wince and you
and-
just let it happen.
And who suffers? Now let's look at step parenting then from the biological parent's perspective. So as a biological parent, you are entering a relationship with your child. What are some do's and don'ts?
Okay, I would first and foremost say establish ground rules, whereas respect for the step parent. So whereas in my case, I'll tell my kids, hey, this is your stepmom. You show her the same respect you'd show your mother. If she has to correct you for anything, you make sure show her the respect and you listen to her. Don't let it get to the point where she have to come to me and step in. So she has to have that same respect, and she has to feel comfortable that when she does, if she has to discipline, there won't be any hard feelings. You know, that they're going to go run to their mother. Oh,
Right.
my stepmom, get this. And then another thing, what happens in our house stays in our house. I don't want to know what's going on in my house. Don't bring that here. And don't take nothing else out of here.
Absolutely.
So everybody got to be comfortable inside that little arena. So the respect definitely had to be there, first and foremost. But I think...
So you're saying establishing rules, and should there be a conversation with everyone? I think first there should be a conversation with just the two adults.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is what you're the biological parent. This is the child. Maybe even share some things. Maybe there's some personal things, some foundational information that maybe that parent needs to know about the child.
Right.
That might help.
Give them more
How
understanding.
exactly an
Yes.
understanding as to maybe how the child reacts or responds in certain circumstances.
Right.
So I think that's important. And I think too, you have to talk about maybe even how you parent, because it could be a culture shock for the child
Yep.
as well, because the child, you may discipline one way, the step parent may discipline another way. So you do have to come to some kind of compromise so that both of you are on the same page. And at the end of the day, the step parent isn't hated because of their
Their parenting
disciplinary
style,
style,
right,
their
right.
parenting style. And so that's important too, because and like when I shared earlier about the shielding and all of that, if you understand each other and you understand that this is how the other person is, the other person will grow to love that child and treat them like their own, then you will be free to you can be at ease
Yes.
or at
Yes.
peace knowing that your child is with a person.
And like you said, a conversation should be had first separately and then all together.
Yes.
So it don't be like somebody say something behind the back. You like, you heard, okay, stepmom, I heard what daddy say how you supposed to act. The stepmom says that, okay, I heard daddy say how you supposed to act.
Right.
And we are in agreement. So when dad isn't around, ain't no fight.
Right.
You know, so it has to be established together. And, you know, not a story, something came to mind, right? How people on the outside, not even a step parent, on the outside used to be like, boy, you so rough on your children, you so hard, you so strict. But now they're singing praises like, your children are so mannerly and they're so
Exactly,
helpful
yes.
and boy, you got the best children in the world. And I'd be like,
Okay.
I get the
then.
best children in the world. I'll say, okay, I don't have no dirty business,
Right.
dirty laundry. I say, okay,
Right.
yeah, I agree,
Yeah.
I agree. But then I say, boy, if y'all only know.
No, and
with them
how you
children.
got there.
Right. So,
Exactly.
but that was because of my hard work. And I expect to do that. I would like to do that with my stepchild. But now I have to understand how my stepchild is. My
Right.
stepchild ain't hard like my children.
Right.
So now I have to learn how to be a softer parent, which is a culture shock for me.
For you, exactly.
Because my children ain't soft. So I don't have to speak to them soft.
Right.
You know?
And then too, your children are secure in your love. Well, I
Yes.
hope
Yes.
that they're secure in your love.
Yes.
So when you are harsh with them, they know that it's from a place of love.
Yes.
Now a stepchild may not see it as quickly.
Right.
Eventually, when your relationship grows with them, they will.
Yes.
But you don't want to cloud that with resentment or
Right,
feeling
fair.
and right. And when that person withdraws, then it might be a little harder for that. So I think too, though, the biological parent has a lot to say about that, because while there should be a conversation with just you, with both adults, the biological parent needs to have a conversation with the child.
Yes.
Just to lay down certain foundational expectations.
Yes.
And to kind of just let the person know, let the child know that, okay, this is going to be your parent. These are the expectations, like you said you would have told your child,
Right.
your children. These are the expectations, and this person is going to be allowed to discipline you, but this person loves me and I love them, so they love
Exactly.
you as well. They will have to, because we're going to be a family.
Right.
You know, so that should be an open
It
conversation.
should be.
You know, and then going from there, I think, and then the conversation with all persons involved.
Now, do we bring in the outside,
The other parent.
the other parent?
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
I know. I that was a question I asked, knowing the answer. But are we mature enough to handle this?
It depends. And I think a lot of times, you know, like I always say, what's the main thing in that equation? When you're a step parent, you are parenting the child.
Right.
It's the child's life at the end of the day that's going to be important. So if everybody's on the same page, everybody
They
is
should be.
rooting for the child.
Should be
For the
correct.
child being in a comfortable environment and becoming a grown-up that we all want.
The best version of
The
themselves.
best version, exactly. So everybody should come together and work together.
Sadly,
that's what happens. And I think a lot of times too, it depends on how the relationship ends. It depends on how soon the person gets in another relationship. All of this has nothing to do with the child and the parenting.
I was about to say that.
However, this is what happens.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of times us women, we are fine. You just dating and you just whatever, and we don't care.
But the minute you get serious,
decide you're gonna get married.
now you have a problem.
We grow horns.
I don't want
and
that
tails.
woman around my child, and you make sure that woman don't have nothing to say to my child. Don't touch my child
whatever.
or nothing. Rather than it being, okay, I know this woman ain't going nowhere now.
Right.
Time to have a conversation and grow up
Right.
conversation with the
Matter
mother.
of fact, you need to start a relationship. This person, we are partners now.
Right.
We're partners now
want the best
raising
for
the
your
child. I
child.
want the best for my child. I'm going to go to bed at night and my child is going to be in your care. It's time for us to have a relationship.
Exactly. And you, if speaking from just talking to the women, well, anyway, we'll get into this because I didn't see us going off and we ain't gonna never stop. So, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Please stick around, give us a call, send in your comments, and we'll get to it right after this commercial break.
Yes.
I'm Flynn Doxson from Nose Witness News, reporting live from Sniper Paintball City. We're here with the manager and he's going to tell us a little about what they have to offer.
Daddy, I got this at Sniper Paintball. We have paintball, cornhole, mini golf, batting cage.
Strike!
That's not a strike.
So come on down every Saturday and Sunday to Sniper Paintball City, located next to Crosstown, where you and the family can have a great time.
See you at Sniper.
Welcome back to Let's Talk. And just like that, we got a caller, guys. We got a live one. Welcome to Let's Talk, caller. You are live. What say ye on this topic of step parenting?
Hi.
Hi.
I do agree that once it's getting serious and looks like the other party isn't going nowhere, that everybody should have a common ground and talk, because the child needs to respect authority no matter who it's coming from. So
Right.
the child needs to know this man ain't going nowhere from the mom and from the dad. You have to respect this. This is your movie husband now.
Right.
This is the movie partner. You need to respect him. You know he is not your real partner. Nobody has to tell you that. You know that, but you have to respect him in his home.
Right.
Vice versa. And the parents should get along. Like, I don't have to be me and you don't have to be the best of friends, buddies, but if your child is gonna be in my care, even if the child lives with you at some point, the child is gonna be in my care, so I would want you to feel comfortable
Yes.
with your child around me and vice versa.
Yes.
Right.
So it just wants everybody mature adults and good to have that. The child everything should be smooth sailing and then things will fall into place.
Yes.
If then you have the parents who daddy and your daddy or daddy and your mommy don't have him talking to my child like that, don't have her.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
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 When everybody, want to call and the child sees the discord, because I've been through it before.
Right.
The child sees the parents not on one accord, they just play with that.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And then that will cause confusion within your marriage.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Me, you supposed to be, the child ain't never supposed to see me and you against each other for the child. Even if we have an argument for the child ain't supposed to see that.
Correct.
Once the child see that, the child go with that.
Yes.
Daddy or mommy this or that, and then we are odds when we should be parenting the child. We let the child on our own.
Yes.
Yes.
Supposed to run the child. Tell the child how it's going in here.
Right.
So that's just my take on it. Once all parties sit down and talk, and once the mother, the father, the step parents, and this my husband, you know he is not your father, but you ain't gonna disrespect him in here.
Correct. Correct.
He's not gonna disrespect you. I ain't gonna bring nobody around you who don't have your best
Exactly.
interest, who ain't gonna respect you and treat you like his own.
Correct.
You ain't gonna disrespect him. You know he ain't your daddy.
Yes.
You know that.
Right.
So we can treat him like he don't have no say. Whatever he say goes to his house. You can respect him.
Yes. And another thing, caller, like you said, you shouldn't be arguing in front of the child, because now when the child sees that argument or whatever happening, the child gonna automatically take the side of their biological parent.
Right.
And now the child feels that they could
They're
disrespect
emboldened, yes, empowered.
to like Cheryl say, emboldened and
disrespect
empowered
it.
to disrespect the step parent.
Yes.
So it's a trickle down effect.
I've been through it with my own personal experiences. So I can tell you,
Yeah.
the child saw me and his daddy arguing and stuff. So the child said like, "Hey, my daddy have my back." I wasn't wrong, I just was trying to tell my then husband at the time, like, I listening to what you're saying, but let's have this conversation in front of the child.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
Because
Correct.
then if you feel like I'm being too harsh on the child, don't tell me that in front of the child.
No.
Yes, I agree.
And that's what my then husband did. So that's when, you know, the
Right.
child. What if I say the child ain't speaking to me or the child being rude? The child, mommy, daddy, she lying. I wasn't lying, but the
Wow.
child doesn't
Wow.
see we
Wow.
ain't on the same page
Mm.
when it comes to him. So he used that to his advantage.
Children smart. They're
Yes.
smart. They know how to play the fence. Yes.
So even if we disagree, don't do that in front of the child.
Definitely not.
Agreed.
Let me say what I have to say, and let me just say what I have to say, and then when we go in our privacy, then, man, I think you could have done just a little. I feel like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But don't do that in front of the child. Let me discipline the child, and vice versa, without us interrupting each other, because then the child, hold on. He don't like her, she don't like her talking to me at all. She don't like him talking. Okay. Then
Yes.
the child obviously the child done have a lack of respect for me because he know I in this movie.
Right. And
So the fact that you do that in front of the child, you empower him to see that, okay, so I could be as rude as I want because my daddy can believe me anyway.
Yes.
right. And you never know what the mother's saying, the biological mother's saying to make that child feel that way. And so now they got two parents now ganging up on you. So the child definitely can join in. And so that's three of them against you, seemingly.
Right. I always really clear to my children, you all know your daddy, you all are back to fathers, but at the end of the day, when I have somebody, you all gonna respect them.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
That's
And
how
that's
it's
how it
supposed to
should
be.
be.
Make that clear whenever I have to introduce you to somebody who's serious and you all gonna respect them. I ain't trying to replace your father. You know your daddy.
Right.
That's not what I'm trying to do here. But then at the end of the day, if there's somebody who's gonna be in my life, you all gonna respect them.
That's
And
right.
vice versa.
That's right.
Agreed.
You know, we don't have no problem. This is the man in the home, so y'all can respect him. I'm not gonna bring anybody around y'all that is gonna mistreat y'all or side eye y'all or stuff like that. That ain't never be the case.
Right.
So
Right.
just trust him. I bring somebody around y'all can trust him. Because I trust him.
Right. Right.
And as long as I tell them that, you know.
Right. So thank you so much, caller. We appreciate your call. Call back anytime.
I will.
All right.
Alrighty. Okay. Definitely.
So, Mr. Producer, before me and Cheryl start talking again, do we have any comments? Because we've been accused of not reading the juicy comments. Oh, look here.
Why, thank you. Thank you. I don't think that has anything to do with parenting, but thank you, Ms. Ariella Leah. Okay. Priska says, obligated is the right word. You accept the parent, you accept the child. Point blank, period. All right.
Wow.
All right. We're going to go to another call.
Yeah. Welcome to Let's Talk, caller. You are live. Turn down your radio or TV, please. You are live. What's going on, caller?
Hey, Jason.
Hey.
What's going on, man?
All's good?
Great. I sorry I was late logging on. This is an interesting topic. I wish I didn't miss anything, but
You ain't missed nothing except you miss saying good afternoon to the calls as well.
Stop begging good afternoon for me. I'll live.
she's a great call. So let me say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make up for that?
No, it didn't. Carry on.
Moving right along.
All right. This topic of becoming a step parent, I've seen a lot of things online over the course of a few years, and for a man, it's different than a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Because
So
from
true.
what I see, the man generally has more to lose in becoming a step parent. Here's one of the reasons why I say that. When a man takes in a lady with those children and they're not his kids and he forms a bond with them, if that lady divorces that man or breaks up with him, right?
Mm-hmm.
That man has no parental rights to those children. Think
Right.
about it.
Right.
He has no parental rights
Right.
to those children.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever money he has invested or time or emotional time pretty much went down the drain.
Right.
And more often than not, you would see men taking on women with kids more so than you would see women taking on men with kids.
Correct.
I've seen women who have kids say that they want a man with no
Okay.
kids,
Yes, I've heard that.
right?
Really?
I've
I've
heard
never
that.
heard. That's ludicrous.
The reason
How?
being, right, they
So
want
no baby mama
more
time.
of that man's money devoted to them and their children
That's selfish.
as opposed to the money being shared equally
Mm-hmm.
with his other children.
Mm-hmm.
Am I making sense?
You're making sense, but Caller, I would just to be fair. I beg to disagree when you say have more to lose. When you say if the mother leaves and the stepfather doesn't have any rights. I know of two ladies who had that issue. They loved their husband's child as if it was their own. In fact, I think they may have had the child from the child was very young. And all of a sudden, the mother now steps up. The biological mother steps into the place. And guess what? Children won't be with their biological mother. I wouldn't say they diss the mother, the stepmother, right? But the biological mother now has more rights than the stepmother. And she just took the children and left the stepmothers them with their hands up in the air, just left them
Wow.
and emotionally scarred, not scarred, but hurt. So they had no recourse except to wait until, and if the biological mother wants to send the child back. Thank God the biological mother couldn't handle it. So they now give the stepmother back. But for that time period when the child was gone, that stepmother had to just deal with it. And one of them, I think when the child came back, the child was acting a little different. So they know their child, you might as well say their child because they had the child so long.
Right.
But they were the step-parent. The child used to be a certain way, act a certain way. But now when they came back, the child was acting a little different. So they had to work around that child to get them out of that attitude that they picked up with the biological mother. But so I think the mother and the stepmother and the
Both
stepfather
have a
are
lot to
both
lose. Yeah.
have a lot to lose. But I agree with what you're
The
saying.
second part,
Yes.
I do agree with the fact that you have the homes where the mother brings kids more often
Yes.
than the father would bring kids. So you
Right.
do have a lot more men having to have the
Accept,
whole package in the home
Yes.
and provide for that full package. So
yes.
I do agree with that part.
Yes.
See, because 9 times out of 10, the mother's going to have her children with her.
Right. Yes. Right.
And the
Right.
man, if he has several children,
They're usually
they're not
with
all
the
going to
mothers.
always be with him.
Right.
Right.
They were the
The
mothers.
majority of the time, they're going to be with their individual mother
Right.
as opposed to being with him. So the woman that he's with, she would tend to have more of an advantage of him being in the home and with less physical baggage present.
Yes.
I'll use that word, physical baggage
But
present.
let's not use the word baggage.
Yeah, because
we're
that
talking
make it
about-
about children here. We talk about
Yeah,
children.
But I guess
we
you're saying
understand what you're
baggage from
talking
the
about.
man's
Right.
perspective
Yes.
because they're not his.
Right. Right.
Yeah, but that's absolutely correct. I agree with that. So he would have more of a responsibility, so to
Yes.
speak, and
And
a
like-
financial responsibility because he has to provide for.
Right. And like you said, like he's saying, the caller's saying, you would find more men in that position than women.
Yeah, that's true.
So even though those two cases I brought up, they would be the minority.
Now, let me tell you, I don't know if anybody brought this other point of. I've seen cases where you have a man trying to step up and be a stepfather and fill that void, and you have it where he can't discipline the children because the mother wouldn't let him. And once you cannot discipline a child, they won't have a certain level of respect
Yeah,
for
correct.
You mentioned Jason
Correct.
mentioned that earlier.
you.
Yeah.
You won't have a certain level of respect for you.
Correct.
And when they get a certain age,
Yep.
some might say, "Oh, you ain't my daddy. You
Yep.
can't tell me anything."
Yes.
And then, Jason, if
Yep.
there's a couple of them in the house, you row with the woman, and when you look, they won't get you
Yep.
in your own house.
Minority, use the minority, you're getting put out your own place.
You getting gang in your own house.
Yes, sir.
And for what? for stepping up to the plate and doing something the other guys didn't want.
Right.
You're being penalized for it.
To try to run your house.
To run your house.
Getting run out your house trying to run your house. Wow, yeah.
I will leave you with this. I know of a guy, and he said one of his neighbors' first wife died, and he married another lady that had kids, and then they got divorced, and the second wife, pretty much. After they got divorced, she took
Take everything.
that marital house. She took everything. So the first wife's children now can't come
Oh
around
my
the house
God.
Wow.
they grew up in.
Wow, and
Now
that's
they had more. They were more entitled because that was
Yes.
their parents' original home.
that's scary.
That's scary. And the reason why he brought that to me, he said when he saw that man go through that, he said. It caused him to go and seek out a lawyer so that he could put some mechanisms in place to
I was about
protect
to say that.
his children.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
about to say that.
Because when you see things go south and the milk gets sour,
Yes, sir. Yes,
some of
sir.
these women, they ain't gonna care about your children.
Not at all. All for me,
They
baby.
worry about them and their children.
But that's a mother, you know. A mother will always, 99% of the time, they will always protect their child, even to their husband's detriment. That's their child, the child
Yeah.
first. And that's our Bahamian women mentality, you know.
Women in general.
You think women in general? Well, I only can speak for Bahamian because
Well,
that's
I
what
was
know.
looking at a program. I was looking at a program actually. They talked about and it was a U.S. based, and they talked about the deficit that men feel in the emotional department when women have children.
Right.
And they're saying how there's a loss that
A big
happens
loss.
because it's like he loses his wife to his child.
His own child. And now
there's
you can
no
go
way to
complain and-
communicate that
Right,
because
right.
That
exactly.
is a good
And-
topic.
And
Yes.
that is a
topic.
serious thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think we can have to look into that one,
talking
Paula.
about.
Yeah, y'all got to look at that.
Yeah, we can
I'll
discuss
line
that
up
one.
and let y'all finish up.
Thank you so much, caller. You brought a lot of added points. We enjoy your call as always. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right.
Yes.
Mr.
that's
Producer-
definitely- Okay. we do
Mr.
have
Bruce,
some
we
more
do have,
comments,
I
so-
sure we have comments.
Okay. Priska says these hard conversations concerning parenting styles and discipline should take place before the families are combined and not after.
Yes, I
I
agree.
agree with that, and I think too. When we talk when you start getting serious, that's when you start involving the child.
Right.
Maybe even have the child an active part,
Playing
going
an
around,
active role.
hanging out, playing a
Yes,
very active role
because-
in the dating.
Yes.
In the courting, because you're courting,
I
you're all
agree.
courting.
I agree because you don't want to just drop that bombshell on the child
After,
and then the
exactly.
child start acting out and then it now causes problem within the dynamics of the marriage.
Exactly.
So you have to see how everything works together.
Yes.
Ariel says,
I agree, Cheryl. The child is a part of the package. Too many people fear their own responsibilities, so they don't want to take on more. They should stay single.
yep,
Agreed,
they should.
100%.
Yep.
I agree 100%.
I agree 100%
yes.
with that. Stay single if you know you're ready for that.
Yes.
Like you say, if you even want to take on your own, why put yourself in a position to take on more?
Exactly. Priska's saying I'd have to meet the step parent first before I tell my child they gotta respect and receive discipline from this step parent because Miss who you is.
See, and that's what I wanted to get into, right? That's what I wanted to get into.
What?
Because you have some jaded females, right? Mothers, who don't think nobody's good enough to be around their
to
child.
parent
And mind
their
you,
child.
and it even have nothing to do with being good enough to be around their child, you know. It's a way to spite the father,
husband.
the fella,
Yes.
because he's now, because like you said, depends on how the relationship ended.
Right.
She's not going to be a willing participant in making the husband happy,
Right.
even to the detriment of her own child.
That's true.
You know, because
that's true.
so it's so weird.
Yes.
You know, that's a weird thing.
It's rare when I think though too because a lot of us women sadly though we rarely have to deal with the step parent on a full-time basis because we
Right.
have the kids.
Right.
The children just go over sometimes,
weekend,
you know,
maybe.
for right.
Right.
So usually we are the ones in the home with a father step parenting our kids.
Correct. And there's
But
no
then
problem there, right?
and no problem. But we create issues for the woman
Of
who who our child has to go
Go
and visit
around, yes.
for very, very temporary periods.
Yes, and not even
know?
looking at how it is in your home.
Exactly. And we need to console ourselves with the fact that their dad loves them.
Right.
He's not going to put them in danger.
Correct.
And I
right?
think that's a big part, because it shouldn't matter who the person is. Trust the father. Then
Right.
if you don't trust the father, then the
different
child shouldn't be
conversation.
around the
That's a
father
different
at all.
conversation, right? You have to have a
Exactly.
conversation with the dad.
Exactly, because if he's going to allow his child to be abused,
Right.
then your child shouldn't be with him at all.
Exactly.
You know, but Prisca also says, also let's not pretend that a lot of people don't rush these relationships and introduce their children to these step-parents too fast. They don't take the time to truly know the person first.
But she has a point.
That's true.
They have a
In
point
some
because we
cases,
don't know how
yes.
to. We always say we don't know how to date.
Yeah.
So that falls right into the category of knowing how to,
Mm-hmm.
knowing how to date. Conversations that need to be had
Right.
before you all start going on that step, because you want to talk to that person to see where their mind is at before you even introduce them to your own life.
Absolutely.
You on there
Yeah.
talking about adding them to your children, and you on there sleeping with the person already.
Exactly.
Huh? Oh, you ain't gonna talk. We ain't gonna talk about that, right?
No.
But anyway, that's a different
No,
conversation.
because
you can sleep with them without introducing them to the
Of
children.
course, because
Casual
some men-
sex.
the person is good enough to be a girlfriend, not a wife.
Right.
So the child doesn't have to meet them.
Right,
I'm
that's
thinking
true.
for men, they only
That's
want the
true.
child to meet a wife.
Yeah, true.
Hopeful.
But that's true. But I'm just trying
And
to
the
show you
same thing-
how we so our priorities
There's
are
a
so
double standard,
mixed up.
Yeah.
We sleeping with these people and sometimes unprotected. Oh, but we want to protect our children from them. But we're not going to protect our bodies and our
which
souls.
is the most valuable thing we
Right,
have.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
You have a point.
that's a crazy.
So their relationship issues aren't even sorted out yet, but yet quick to introduce children into these relationships.
Yes.
Then they wonder why there's so much confusion. Y'all move too soon. That's true, but there's a very, very thin line between when you move too soon or when you move too late. So
Exactly.
you definitely have to make sure you are on the ball and you're watching and waiting. If this person is a hopeful, as soon as you
Right.
decide that, then it's time to get your kids in the courting part.
Because you got some very jealous, very stupid exes who ain't gonna never think it's soon enough. They'll continue to make problems hoping that you stay single so you could come back to them. So they, even if you taking your time and doing everything right, they can beat a crazy baby mama drama or have stupid baby daddies
Yes.
so that hopefully they scare off the person they know is good for you. So it ain't that easy now.
Right.
But it all goes in the-
I've rarely seen where it's men create issues like
No,
this.
that's
I
true.
must say, usually
Men do it.
Yeah,
They
there
do
are some men. There are
but
some
it
men
is,
because,
like you said,
but usually
it's the
when the
women.
men does it, it's usually a protective safety issue.
Yes.
For example, they have a daughter. It's a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and they, in our climate, every man should be worried about the step.
hell
if
yeah.
you're not worried, then what kind of father
Hell
are
yeah.
you? So that's very important. But I see we're being asked to go to commercial break. So
Yeah.
right after the commercial, we'll be back with more. Let's talk on step parenting.
Step-parenting.
We'll be back.
Yo, what's up, Bahamas? My name is Andrew Williams, aka Cat,
And I'm your boy Mix.
and we're representing Off the Bench, the #1 talk sportcast in the Bahamas.
In the world, my boy.
My bad, pardon I. So
Yeah.
we cover anything sports throughout the Bahamas. We cover our Bahamian athletes wherever they are, and they're making waves in sports. We cover them.
Hey, just tune in to us every Wednesday here on Superior Talk at 6 o'clock p.m.
The number
Sharp.
the #1 talk show
In the world.
in the world.
Craig.
So we're back with Let's Talk and Step Parenting. And we were talking a lot about the step parents aspect, step parents view. Then we even started talking about the biological view. And before we move on to the child's perspective and their siblings, I don't know if we finished talking about the biological parents on creating issues from the inside because they don't want to let go or to release that previous relationship. So, but you can't wait for the biological to catch up because they may never.
Right.
So, which means now you'll have to tactfully find a way to bring your child along
Right.
and minimize the damage because there will be damage. I'm telling you, there's no way to avoid a jaded parent. There's no way to avoid that because
But I
the
think-
child
I
has to be
think-
around them.
Sorry. I think though you can avoid it if you're upfront and respectful. Because I think you should have a conversation with the parent. If you're
Right.
getting married,
Right.
and your child is living with you, and there's going to be a new person in your child's life who's going to share this very, very important job with. I think you should say to that parent, I'm getting married. There should be some form of introduction at some point. Because, like I said, you're going to be partners. And it doesn't matter how they're going to be who they are. But you have to do the right and the respectful thing.
Oh, yes.
And introduce the person and let everybody know, okay, this is going to be whoever. That's important. To
It is
be
important,
upfront.
Cheryl, but you got some crazy people out there who aren't willing to let go.
Yes.
And that introduction of the spouse may be a bomb. That person that's jaded might just be waiting for that introduction to happen so they can say, do you know he was doing this? Do you know this is what he said about you? And might be lies though, but
Right.
just to cause problems. They
But
would
it
do
has-
this.
So what are you suggesting, Jason, that doesn't happen at all?
No. You try it just to see what's gonna happen. Because
Yeah.
some people, the reason why some relationships fail because the other person was
Right.
toxic.
Yeah. Right.
So that's hoping that the person isn't toxic anymore. So how can you have a mature conversation with somebody who doesn't want to
not
be
right.
mature? So you have to find ways to work around it.
Yes, but going
Unfortunately.
forward, you have
but you
to
do try.
with-
You do try to be mature.
Yes.
And bring, because I don't know why a parent wouldn't want to be on board
yes.
with it, because you should want, like you said, you want your child to win.
Right.
So let's say the step parent speaking to the biological parent. The biological parent should be initiating the conversation. Now, listen, watch out for my daughter. This is what
Yes,
she's
this-
doing.
yes.
She's slick. So
Yes.
watch it. You see her doing this?
Yes.
Let me know. I know you might not want to cut her hair,
Yes.
and her daddy might be too soft. So you call me. Let me know. If she say anything all the way, if she sass you, because trust me, I know my daughter. Oh, I know my son. He think he's mine. So guess what? His daddy might want to put it on, so you give me a call.
Right.
You know, so you with any rational,
Exactly.
mature parent
Yes.
would want that.
Yes.
Right? But then again, that's living in a bubble.
Then too, right? You can know too a lot. I mean, I don't know if we're ready to talk about the child yet.
Yeah, we're
But-
moving right into the child. Yes,
okay.
let's go.
I was gonna say for the child too. Let's think about the child. This is you are in the middle of something. Okay, you have and a lot of times kids are torn. They're pulled apart. So here they want to make daddy happy or mommy happy, whoever that biological parent is in that relationship. They want to make that person happy, but they want to make that person at home, the other home happy,
parent happy as well.
Especially if it's the mother, because
Yes.
as mothers, we know how to form bonds with our children. We know how to make them feel guilty.
Manipulate
And
them,
yeah,
guilt them
sometimes-
into stuff.
Sometimes manipulate, and if the mother is single and alone,
Oh,
and the
definitely.
child feels sorry, the child almost feel like they should not be happy with the other parent.
Listen.
And they take on
Listen, you preaching.
they take on that. And
Fill in
so,
the role for the mother, like to
Yes.
be the mother's
Yes.
boyfriend or just,
or an advocate.
Yes.
So the child comes back to this home and the child is useful in creating havoc because they're doing it on behalf of
the mother,
of their
or the
mother,
other
or
parent.
the other parent.
Because children, like you said, they want to make the other parent happy.
Yes.
So they're gonna do, even if it's wrong, they'd come and bring news back. Oh yeah, daddy and Miss So and so was just rowing, and then she said, yeah, what she do?
Yes.
What she say to you? And the mommy will encourage that.
And as a parent, I don't want to hear it.
Right. Shut them
that's
down.
the
Shut it
responsible
down.
thing. I don't want to
Shut
hear
it down. You got a problem? Go talk to your daddy about it. Go talk
Exactly.
to your mommy about it. Or go talk to, don't bring it to my house, because if you bring it here, you probably can carry my news to
Yes.
to their house as well. But you are so sad because the other parent hasn't moved on. They would use that child as a tool
Yes.
to,
And a weapon sometimes.
and weaponize them. So you would see the child come back, like I said, the lady, the child came back from the biological mother, a different person.
Yes, and I've heard many complaints about that. Every time the child goes for a weekend by the biological parent, they come back and it's a different child.
Yes.
And so the person has to more or less
Reprogram
Right.
or deprogram them.
exactly.
And I heard ladies say that, and they were not in, I heard a single mother said this. She was in a relationship, but she said, every time my child go to his daddy, every time he come back, I got to fight with him. He don't want to talk to me, or he disrespecting me, or he challenging me. Every time I send him to his daddy, he comes
because
back.
you can tell, because the kids, they absorb whatever was happening
Yes.
there, all the negativity that was spewed against the home that they came from. All of that,
So these children, these children are being used, and the children just
They're
want to do it for
victims.
love, right? They want to make their parents happy. So they're victims.
Exactly.
They're victims, and the parents are so doggone, almost cuss, selfish. Till they don't care to know that they're hurting their child.
Right.
You know, they just want to get back at the other parent
Exactly.
for whatever reason. Or he happy or she happy. I can fig this up right now. You know?
Exactly. But it's important. It's important for everybody there, and I guess step parent, because at the end of the day, the step parent relationship with the child will be the most strained one.
Yes.
So it's important though for the step parent to understand that this child is in a situation that they didn't ask
Can't
to be
help.
in.
And they can't
that
deal
did
with it
not
mentally.
create exactly. They did not create it.
Right.
And they're in a more or less warfare because they're
Yes.
torn apart. And a lot of times, how a child responds is usually not how they want to respond, but their response is a representation of some other emotional,
Yes,
you
yes.
know.
But they say they lash out.
Exactly. So it's important to form an open and honest relationship, your own open and
Yes.
honest relationship with that child away from. And it's going to be hard, but a step parent has to be patient.
Yes.
And you have to take a lot of like I said before, you have to understand it's a selfless thing. You're going to have to do a lot and not receive a lot.
Yes. And
Because you ain't getting no thanks,
no.
especially from the biological
No.
parent. You usually don't get any thanks from the other
outside
the
one, the
spouse,
outside
the
one.
outside one or the inside one. Because a lot of times you are just there doing your best, and you're
and
hardly
they
ever.
probably look at it as you're supposed to do
You're
it.
supposed to do it.
Not knowing that I'm going to go on record and say this. I think step parenting is much harder than parenting.
Of course it is.
Much harder.
You're
and it's-
giving and you will never receive.
Right.
You have to treat
you won't
the
receive.
parent.
You won't receive what the biological will receive. You will
No.
receive.
You
but
will
you won't
receive.
receive from like.
I don't think you'll ever receive as much as you give.
No,
Because
no.
you are under the radar. You're under the radar from everyone. From people on the outside, from the biological parent, from the parent the spouse, from the child, from the people in the
Yes.
family. You're under the radar of everybody's watching
scrutiny.
your every
Scrutiny.
move. Everything you say is being picked apart just to see if you
Doing
have-
it right.
Exactly.
And the thing is,
and what do you get?
nothing.
Usually,
you say,
you're
nothing. You get the
expected
leftovers.
to treat the child like your own, and you are never treated by the child
Like their own.
their own.
Right.
You are
So-
exactly. You're overlooked, under no gratitude. So you have to understand that this is what you're buying into.
Right.
And
Because
yeah,
and Cheryl, the sad thing is this: the amount of people out there having children out of wedlock.
exactly.
You will
Most of
have no
us-
choice but to be a step parent.
Absolutely.
So
I was
therefore
about to
now
say,
we
yeah,
got to
that is-
prepare
that is
not
your
for being
future.
parent.
That is
You got
your
to prepare for
future.
being a step parent.
That is your
because
future,
step
yeah.
parenting, like you said, they're gonna be looking for you to parent as a biological.
Yeah.
But also you better know where to fall back because you don't have as much respect or
Yeah.
power as the biological.
Exactly.
So you get all the responsibility,
But no benefits.
Not all the
Not
benefits.
all the benefits.
Not all the
So
respect.
you're a Superman and Superwoman.
Right. So
with-
and you better go
Yeah.
into this with your eyes wide open because
Absolutely.
they say treat them like your own. But that only pertains
Only-
to rewards and providing
And incentives and all
incentives.
of that.
But when it comes to
doesn't come
discipline,
tough love and discipline.
when it comes to discipline, hey.
Who
Hey,
are-
see me.
Like Prisca
Hey,
said, who you is?
Who you
though?
is again? So, like Darren said, and this was a sad case. I heard a guy said this, right? How he helped this woman raise her children, a child,
Right.
and at the end of the day, when they divorced, that lady left her and her child. He has no legal rights
Wow.
to that child he helped raise. This boy who he helped raise from a baby to not a man, but a teenager.
Right.
They left. And because him and the mummy, him and his ex-wife, they're not seeing eye to eye now.
Right.
She's going to use that child to spite the guy and keep him away
Wow.
from the son, his stepson.
Right.
So he had no rights, no legal right
right.
to say, let me go see my son. The man,
Wow.
she just tore him away because she
Yes.
knew that's the way to hurt him.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's so scary because you doing this at a risk, but life is a risk, right? So you can't go into there and halfway do it. I'm going to say
Right.
something else. You
Yes.
can't go halfway doing it because the child will suffer.
Yes.
But then again, if you do it 100%,
You may
might end up
suffer,
with
but it's the risk that you have to, and it's the price you pay for love. Because
yes.
why are you there? You're there because you love the man.
Yes.
So you take on that extra obligation.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it is what it is.
It is what it is. It's a big risk.
Yes.
But the child, they're not equipped to deal with this mentally, and they're being forced to deal with something that many adults haven't learned to properly navigate.
And that's
which
why
is a
it's-
split
sorry.
and the divorce. I'm not talking about single parenting where you had babies before you were married. I'm
Right.
talking about the child was in the house with mommy and daddy. The child was used to seeing mommy and daddy together.
Right.
Now mommy and daddy split up for no reason. I mean, not no reason, split up for whatever reason. And let's say it's a bad divorce. Now the child is seeing mommy hurting, child seeing daddy hurting, and the child doesn't know how to navigate through that. Now here comes this next woman or man saying they're making my mommy happy or my daddy happy while the other parent or they're still single and hurting, and the child wants to help mommy feel good, but daddy over here living his new life and with the new kids and all this. He bringing new family around, and my step brother and sister while mommy still alone.
Yeah.
How is it? And then you have mommy, she hurting, so she pours out on her child.
Right. Exactly.
And now what's her child supposed to do with that?
And the other female is getting treated how mom's supposed to be
Right.
treated.
So resentment building up, and the
Yes.
stepmom might be doing everything right.
Right.
But because mommy hurting, she's saying, stop mom hurting mommy. Now stepmom was nowhere around before mommy even get in this position, but
Absolutely.
all the child knows is, hey, mommy hurting, stepmom happy, daddy happy, mommy hurting.
Right.
Hold on now. I
So
gotta
he
help
has
mommy.
to take on that role, yes,
Right.
to be the comforter of mom and fight mom's battles.
Fight mom's battles.
He
And
was
sometimes,
in the business. Yeah.
sometimes bringing news on the daddy and mommy, stepmom,
exactly.
to the mom makes mom happy.
And that's how he shows his mom
So he
love.
shows mom love.
Exactly.
Sad,
We
sad,
we
sad.
have to think about the child and have to be extra patient.
So we're taking a next commercial break,
That's a lot of
guys.
commercial
It's a lot of commercial breaks. But yes, let me throw this out there. For all you guys who have businesses out there, we can advertise your business too, right here on Let's Talk, man.
Yes.
Let's get some of this advertisement out here. Sponsor the show, talk to us about it. We'll get you sorted out, man. So we'll be right back after this quick commercial break.
Yes.
Greetings and welcome to Superior Talk Bahamas. My name is Yvette Swain, and I am here with the Sword Sharpeners Prayer Network. We meet every Monday at 6 p.m., where we dive into the Word of God to see what He would say to us. You are welcome to join us. That's every Monday at 6 p.m. here on Superior Talks. God bless you, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.
And we're back talking about step parenting. This was a action-packed, content-filled episode. Lots to say about this because step parenting touches every aspect of our Bahama land.
Yes.
Either we in a step parenting home or we're about to be in one. We know somebody in one.
Yes.
Yes. So we can go some
Priska
comments.
says, I'm going to need y'all to stop focusing on the negative. There are a lot of parents who are willing to put the needs of their children first, minus all of the drama. They should have the opportunity.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Very good topic, says Terrence Lord. Thanks, Terrence. Mr. Pinder says, my stepson became my son and is closer to me than the son I sired. Amen to that. Amen to that. Good job.
So,
The topics, says Godfrey, subject themes have really been compelling and super relevant over the last few months. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much, good sir.
there's a lot of jerkins going on tonight.
Listen,
B. Lord says,
it's hard to be a step parent when a mother opposes the discipline of a child. Most definitely.
Yes.
You can't protect what you have no control over.
that's true.
You cannot protect it if you can't control it. So if I have no control, which means disciplining, I can't protect it. So you can't look for me to protect your child if I can't say how to control him,
Right.
which means how to discipline. And not control as walk around with a stick, but control, putting guard rails around the child and saying, this is how you act, this is how you should act, this is respect, this blah, blah, say this, you can't talk, no one, like, I should be able to tell you this. And if you don't follow the rules, you should be able to get some discipline because this is what I would do to my kids.
Right.
And sad enough to say that step parents are willing, a lot of step parents go into it with their eyes open.
Yes.
It's just that the biological now doesn't afford the step parent all the
rights
support and
yes,
rights that
and
they need.
privileges of, yes.
Right. Because step parents, I feel they bend over backwards because they.
And I know a lot of good step parents.
Yes,
I know a lot.
they walk on eggshells just to
yes.
try to be the best parent.
Exactly.
Because they don't want to give
Exactly.
nothing for the child to go talk, so they do all they
Exactly.
could to be a good parent,
And
but they don't get
sometimes
the
that's where
prayers for it.
The failing, that's where the failing comes in because they don't have the freedom to parent properly.
Right.
And so you if you can't properly parent a child, then you're not gonna do it well.
Right.
In terms of like you were saying, the tough love, the building character, the discipline like you do for your own, that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
And you're supposed to have the freedom to do that.
That's correct. Apart, barring abuse, barring
Oh,
physical,
definitely not.
mental, verbal abuse.
You shouldn't be abusing your own, Jason.
No,
so why
no,
is that
no,
even
no.
a
Now,
thing?
some parents are very abusive. They believe and I ain't talking about these little soft
Being
children we
with
got
the-
today
being
who
with the
call
pots
everything
and
abuse.
pans and the wire
abuse.
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, some
No.
parents and they believe
Yes.
on cussing the children out
Right.
and
No,
But I
no,
doubt
we're
you
not
get with
talking about
somebody. I doubt you date somebody who's like that anyway.
If you are, then you don't deserve to have the
Yes,
child with you
right,
at all.
Right, right. Because you have some parents who break up because the father. A lot of times it's be the father who's be the abuser.
Right.
So they break up because of that, and now he moves on and probably realized the error of his ways. So that's another show. That's
Yeah.
another show. That's another show.
Because I don't know if, I mean, I'm not the one to say that if you were abusive to your wife, then you won't be abusive to your child, or you will be. But that's a
That's a show for
Yeah.
yeah. So, but we didn't touch on the siblings, like so the children coming into the step, so and how they
That's right.
and that's a whole
Right.
other dynamic because they're seeing them as strangers, but here they are now being thrusted to say, hey, this is your brother, this is your sister, treat them as such.
And the child is watching what you do for your own children because you have
Ah.
to treat everyone. You have to
treat
make sure
all
you
and
treat
everyone
everyone
the
the
same.
same.
And-
It's important.
And,
Because you're taking that child on, and there should be no disparity between how you
and
treat.
it's so strange. I've heard this before from children, and call no name, carry no blame, but they say, I witnessed my parents be harder on me than they are to the stepchild.
Okay.
So by step, they'll be like, well, they just make the stepchild. They don't make the stepchild clean the dishes, but they'll make me go clean the dishes.
But isn't that what we're talking about? And that's
Yes.
why, you don't want to overstep. You don't want to do whatever.
And you do that because you don't want the stepchild to feel a certain way.
Right.
So you overcompensate. It's such a funny balance you have to
It
strike.
is. It is.
It's weird. It's weird. And God never designed it to be that way. That's why he said, one man, one woman, and can't be going on a commercial again, Mr. Producer.
Yes,
All right.
to wrap up.
So one man, one woman,
Yes.
husband and wife for life, raise the kids under one roof, and then you won't have these problems. But sadly enough, we ain't living in that bubble no
That's
more.
ideal, but
That's
we're not, yeah.
the utopia the Lord designed for us. So we have to deal with what we have today, these
Yes.
problems and stresses. So in our wrap-up,
In our wrap up, in our culture, there's a phrase called "you get treated like a stepchild." There's a reason that
Why did I say
phrase
that? Yes.
is rampant. Everybody knows that phrase. So clearly we know that some stepchildren are not treated fairly how they ought to be treated. And there are many reasons for that. And I know tonight we touched on step parenting from different perspective. But I want to end the way I started by saying, if you are entering a relationship and the other person has a child, you are obligated to take care and love that child like it's your own. It's important to be honest and open and look at life from the child's perspective
Yes.
as well, so that you can afford a little more patience, a little more time. And, while we're saying love the child like your own, there's some things that we'll do with our own children
That's
that
right.
we can't do with the stepchild because they don't have the same vantage point as
Right.
your children do
Right.
of you. But over time, as you build relationship, then they'll understand you a little more and you learn to parent differently as you grow in relationship. But it's important that, the stepchild doesn't feel like a stepchild.
Yes. I just want to echo something that I said just now. The good Lord designed it a certain way to avoid all these problems, which is no child before, children before wedlock. You don't do that, you won't have these issues.
Yes.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? That's what they say. So to prevent these ills and these struggles, let's do our best to not get in a position of placing these children in step environments. Now, reality is, the horse may have already left the gate, so you still fix it. And choosing your partners correctly, wisely.
Yes.
Know who you're bringing around your children before you bring around the children, which means dating properly, talk, investigate, put all your detective skills in place before you bring these people around your children. And then now, step parenting is one of the hardest jobs. It's right up there with being married. Maybe harder, I don't know. Maybe harder because you're dealing with an innocent child.
Yeah.
So therefore, you got to go into that with your eyes wide open. Don't go into there thinking that they're just like your child. No, they were raised differently from your children, so which means you have to now relearn how to parent, because you don't want to treat that child like a stepchild. You want to treat them like with love and respect so that they can be the best version of themselves. So which means you're gonna now have to learn how to do you may have to learn a different style of parenting. So don't go into this with your eyes closed. That is the most demanding job out there.
Yes.
Step parenting, because like Cheryl mentioned, you walk on eggshells because you're being scrutinized from everybody, from the biological parents, from the child, from the grandparents, from friends, from the outside community, looking to see how you're doing it.
Yeah.
So you under the microscope. So if you ain't ready for that, don't let nobody fool you. Oh, my child is the best. They may be the best, but there comes a lot with that. The mommy mightn't be the best, the father might not be the best, the grandparents may not be the best. So it's a lot for you to consider. Do not go in blindly. This has been Let's Talk, another real topic. Thank you guys for joining us, and we hope that you join us again next week, same time, same place. Peace.
Good night.